It was a Clinton campaign and the DNC that funded Oppo research into Donald Trump by this outfit called Fusion GPS last year, including possible ties to Russia. That research into President Trump, he was then candidate Trump, was first funded by an unknown Republican during the primaries. Fusion GPS is staffed by former Wall Street Journal reporters. It's now being accused of doing political hit jobs. Now, in this story, a middleman law firm paid for the report, doing the Democrats' bidding, all giving the Hillary campaign and the DNC a level of plausible deniability. Fusion GPS then hired former British intelligence officer Christopher Steele to write the now infamous dossier. Here's a law firm quote about it. It admits its involvement and that Fusion reached out to it. Now President Trump weighing in an exclusive interview with Lou Dobbs.
Don't forget, Hillary Clinton totally denied this. She didn't know anything. She knew nothing. All of a sudden it found out. What I was amazed at, it's almost $6 million that they paid, and it's totally discredited. It's a total phony. I call it fake news. It's disgraceful.
The full interview airs tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time right here on Fox Business. And Lou Dobbs is here right now to talk about it. Good to see you, Lou. Terrific interview.
Great to see you. Thank you so much. The president in a very an effusive mood, I must say, given all the challenges he faces, all of the responsibilities. He's a happy man today.
Well, the Clintons have been denying all along about any involvement with this Russia file, this dossier. And now it's the Clinton campaign and the DNC helping to fund it. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts is that justice sometimes can be circuitous, but ultimately it arrives when we get very lucky. The Clinton campaign, the Democratic Party, the DNC, they have been guilty of so much in the way of just outright corruption over the course of the past 2 years that it's only fitting that finally, the truth is out there. This is something, by the way, that Hillary Clinton has denied, the Democratic National Committee has denied, her attorneys have denied, and they, in their denials, have been lying.
You know, Lou, you asked the president about the House Intelligence and the Oversight Committee's turning to the Democrat Party, talking about investigating collusion with Russia. What did the president say about these congressional probes?
The president is, he is being very cautious at this point. He's been telling everybody who would listen to him that he in no way, nor anyone in his campaign, were associated with the Russians colluding against the interests of the United States. On its face, it's absurd. But it's what happens with a closed feedback loop, as you know, Elizabeth. The idea that the national left-wing news organizations just keep repeating the same nonsense and take only the left-wing view of what is happening, the left-wing view in this case created by an MI6 former operative who has the ability to put some sort of, attach some sort of remote possibility to a dossier filled with pure crap and peddle it and have a U.S. Senator, John McCain, actually hand it over to the FBI.
Yeah, and then
the ignorance has been amazing.
And to your point, FBI Director James Comey at that time was urged by James Clapper, brief the president on it, and that was promptly leaked to the press, who hit the send button without fact-checking it. We questioned it from the get-go. And now this could possibly have led to, who knows, NSA unmasking of Trump team members and the president himself, right?
We know, and in some cases are highly confident, that dossier was actually used by the FBI to get FISA warrants. Lying to judges is a crime, even for the FBI. And there have been many lies told and many lies fabricated by Fusion GPS and the Democratic Party and their candidate. There is a hell of an accounting awaiting those folks.
Wow. So a fake file that was used to gin up spying on an opposition candidate. This is a heck of a story. And, Lou, we can't wait for your interview tonight. Final word, Lou.
Final word is we find out the collusion that is established at this point with the Russians in the election were between Facebook and the Russians and between the Democratic National Committee, the FBI, and the Russians.
I want to move on to this other subject with you, Lou. Senate Judiciary Chair Chuck Grassley calling for a special counsel to investigate the Clintons' involvement in the Uranium One deal. Now, a former Obama campaign director telling Fox News Tucker Carlson he thinks turning over 20% of the U.S. uranium resources to Russia is a positive thing. Take a listen.
Yeah.
In exchange, we gave up control of 20% of our strategic uranium reserves. And I don't think anybody, in retrospect, thinks that's a wise idea. Do you?
You know, honestly, Tucker, I see this as a win because for so long this was just thrown off as a myth. It was dismissed. The president told us this was fake news. But I'm glad to see that Republicans are now beginning to take this seriously, that Russia is seeking to destabilize our democracy. I don't see this as a partisan issue. This is just they're whatever it takes to destabilize our democracy.
He says that as a positive thing. Lou, the Clinton, let's talk about the money flow. And you've been talking about this, too. The Clinton Foundation-related charities got an estimated $140 million to $145 million from people connected to Uranium One. Clinton billionaire crony Frank Giustra, he sits on the Clinton Foundation. He's was a major shareholder in Uranium One. What's going on here?
What's going on is a pay-for-play corruption machine that existed throughout. Feeding the pockets of the Clintons, and $145 million donated in support of turning over 20% of U.S. uranium to the Russians. What idiot at all would even consider turning over uranium to the Russians? And why would you accept $145 million for it and not think, you know, somebody's going to think this is a crooked pay-for-play? The person who did think that is Peter Schweizer. He wrote a book, Clinton Cash. He is the guy who turned this over for all of these committee chairmen and for the FBI. All they had to do was to look down on the pages. Everyone assumed after that book was published, Elizabeth, they thought that the FBI would pounce. They did nothing. And the FBI, frankly, because of its leadership, its corrupt leadership, politically corrupt and otherwise, they have just become an institution where truth and true investigation goes to die. It becomes a wall between the people and that truth and that knowledge.
Just a point of order. Frank Giustra says he unloaded his stake in Uranium One in 2007, 3 years before this Russian outfit bought Rosatom. But other individuals connected to that Russian nuclear firm, energy firm, it gave money to the Clinton Foundation and charities, and also a Russian bank paid for a speech by Bill Clinton, $500,000, and the bank was touting the shares in Rosatom and Uranium One, right?
Yes, touting them and preparing a market for them, and there's a close relationship. Renaissance Bank.
I'll tell you.
And you know, the absurdity of this is that now Mueller and Comey and the entire bunch who make up, well, not the entire bunch, half the bunch, who are at the very top of the FBI or the special counsel's office, are now the ones that Congress wants to investigate for their role.
Wow. And, you know, let's move on to this subject. There's a report that President Trump asked Republican senators for a show of hands on who should run the Federal Reserve. He asked you, Lou Dobbs, for your recommendation in your exclusive interview tonight. Let's listen.
Do you have a preference out of curiosity?
I do. And
tell me who your preference is.
I think I constrain myself because an ad hoc advisor to the president.
No, but I'd love to hear it. You can even cut it out if you want. You don't have to. I would love to hear you. I only want that from people I respect.
I personally believe that Janet Yellen might be worth keeping.
I'll tell you what. She was in my office 3 days ago. She was very impressive. I like her a lot. I mean, it's somebody that I am thinking about. I would certainly think about it.
Why didn't you name Neil Cavuto or you or Stuart Varney? No, I'm kidding.
You want the answer to that question as well?
I don't. But you really think Janet Yellen and not Jerome Powell or, you know, John Taylor? What do you think?
I think that Janet Yellen, it has been the Fed chair through an enormous expansion in both the balance sheet of the Federal Reserve and the market cap of the equities markets. I think that she has done a good job. I think her ideas about raising interest rates have been really an effort to jawbone the market rather than actually take monetary policy in a new direction. I hope so. She's been wrong on that once or twice, but then who amongst us hasn't been over the course of a period of years? I think she would be very good.
That's a good idea, I think. I didn't think of that. A calm, steady voice in Janet Yellen. Lou, we love you. We love having you on. Please come back soon. And do not forget to see Lou Dobbs' full interview with President Trump tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time.